Hi.
Hi.
Can I please know a little bit more about you and how your rehab journey started?
Okay. So my name's Jackie. I lost like 270 pounds.
Yeah.
So I had to get my skin suit refitted. So what that looked like is, let me think here, probably 2 or 3 plastic surgeries, all told. Everything from, we did a thigh lift, we did a circular tummy tuck, I had a breast lift and augmentation, I had a brachioplasty, so this is the arms. They did a torsioplasty, so they took a section of extra out of my back. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of scar tissue that I was dealing with after surgery. There was a lot of muscles being moved around and replaced and restructured. So one of the things that my surgeon recommended was physiotherapy, was massage therapy, was the alternate therapies, just in terms of getting everything moving. Because I mean, like, scar tissue seizes up, it tightens up, and then you end up in this position and not being able to move around very well. So I ended up looking for a physiotherapist in my area who offered alternate, because like when you think about at least for myself, when I thought about physiotherapists, it was more about like strengthening and recovering like sore muscles. I wasn't really sure what I was looking for in terms of a physiotherapist for like after surgery. So I started looking around, and I actually connected with Pooja through another clinic and followed her to her own clinic because of how we set up our plan. We sat down and we discussed exactly what was going on with me, because it wasn't just that I was having like one surgery and then recovered and we're good to go. It was like, I'm going to have one surgery, we're going to do this recovery period, I'm going for another surgery, we're going to do a recovery period. And it was all exactly the same surgery either, in the exact same position of the body. I also had the unfortunate added stressor was that I was going back to a physically intensive job. So it wasn't just that I was looking to get range of motion and the scar tissue maneuvering. I was going back to things where I was like, I'm a welder, so it's a lot of heavy stuff that I was dealing with. So there was also that component. So being able to sit down and actually have a discussion of what the treatment plan needed to look like and what the options were, and how to go about that, and especially coming in, as I said, having no idea how Pooja or physiotherapist would look at dealing with scar tissue. She gave me all the information that I needed, plus extras. So it was an educational experience for me. Some of it I think was a surprise, and we're like, okay, so so this is where we're gonna go with this. And it was always like a learning curve, but we were in it together, which was fantastic.
Yeah, and you were phenomenal. You did pretty much things that were not too comfortable as well.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we did that. So thank you for that. That's a good brief. So we used a lot of equipment, and we also did a lot of hands-on. What was the most what you felt the most comfortable with, or?
Honestly, I don't know that it was, so for starters, Pooja was fantastic. She was comfortable through the whole process, because honestly, like, I'm pretty much getting naked like for some of these treatments because of where my surgeries have taken place. But just like the progression, because we have done everything from like ultrasound to laser to, I called it electroshock therapy, but the shockwave therapy. And even just like looking at not just like normal scars, like, so your scars are repairing and you're doing the range of motion stuff to like stretch out and break down scar tissue. But I also had some issues in terms of, there was one section for my circular tummy tuck that created adhesions, and it was like a rigid like mass of scar tissue that just was like super. I actually, at one point, honestly, I thought it was never going to, that I was going to have to, and never be able to like fully comfortably accept. So we did everything on that. We did laser on that. We did manipulation
Shockwave.
like hand and shockwave's fun. I call it electroshock for a reason. It's a lot of fun. It's surprising every time she zaps you. It's not really a zap, okay? Just let me be clear. She's not actually electrocuting
But it's
you.
not the most.
But it broke down. Like honestly, like I can't even tell that I had an issue there now. Like I have no adhesions. There's no ridge anymore. It definitely loosened up the scar tissue and got everything moving. And I honestly, without the treatments that we had done, I really don't think that would have ever been quite right. It would always have been tight and rigid feeling, like it just. But yeah, so I can't. In terms of the therapy we've done, completely professional, because honestly, but I snaky sometimes.
Yeah, but you were, yes, it was a lot for you, considering we were going through a lot with the shoulders and the pelvis and everything, but you managed it well.
And so because I've been like, I'm a jigsaw puzzle, so there were always like, so when we got beyond like the actual breaking down the scar tissue, we were looking at building up muscles again. So we were changing our plan and we were doing, you know, like the stretching and getting this position. And I enjoy yoga, so there was certain positions that I was like, and then there was certain positions she was like, okay, just do this exercise, and I was like, okay, and she's like, so you feel this here, and I'd be like, no, I'm feeling it here. So we'd be like, okay, so we're gonna rework this one as well, because that's not where you're supposed to be experiencing it. So yeah, so everybody's body is different and how they react to not only like the actual laser etc treatments, but even doing the exercises, but having like a therapist that then works with you to actually target what you're wanting to target, and that you can go, okay, so I've done this exercise, and this exercise, but I'm feeling it here, here, and here, like not where I'm supposed to be. Okay, so then she pulls another trick out of her hat and we try another one until we find one that actually targets what we needed to stretch. So yeah, it's been fantastic.
Thank you. And just one final question. What would be your advice to someone who's considering such an intensive surgery, the rehab period, and like how to prepare for it, like even mentally?
Okay, so I went into, especially like the first surgery, I've had, so years ago, like for example, I had an ovarian cyst, so I had abdominal surgery. And it was horrible. Like honestly, like I was like, I can't move, like I can't, like this is just like the worst thing ever. During the healing process, honestly, the actual recovery process in terms of like going for plastic surgery is nowhere close to painful. If you've gone through a C-section, if you've gone through, like if you've broken a bone, like seriously, it's nothing like that. It's actually easier than I anticipated. Like I expected it to be a lot more painful. So pain is actually, strangely enough, considering the fact it's surgery, is pain-free-ish. I'm gonna say ish because obviously there's gonna be some pain. In terms of the recovery process, give yourself longer than you anticipate, depending on where you're at in your real life. So how active you are in real life, what your work is, what that kind of stuff. Give yourself a little bit longer to go through that recovery process. And also, at least from my perspective, because I had lost all that weight and then had the plastic surgery done, the mental component of that, like taking the time to work through where your body's at, because you like with plastic surgery, with any surgery really, but like with plastics especially, you're changing the external package of your body, so getting your brain behind it sometimes takes a little longer. In terms of actual recovery, be aware that you can start. And the first surgery I had with the plastic surgery, I felt like, I don't know if it was just that I didn't really understand and I really didn't have any background in it, but you can start with a physiotherapist, with a massage therapist. You can start with those therapies a lot sooner than you think. And the sooner you start, the faster the recovery process is. it'll also take, especially like dealing with like the adhesions and that kind of stuff, like if you have any of those, they take a little bit longer to work through as well, as opposed to, you know, you just sail through normal surgery. I had an infection with one breast, so it's taking longer in terms of recovery, and we're doing things like, I've had the antibiotics obviously, but things like the ultrasound to keep everything moving and keep everything flowing so that the recovery even from the infection speeds up. It's not something that you are going to go, okay, so I have to wait until X, Y, and Z ends up as a perfect situation. No, start as soon as you can. As soon as you're able, start ultrasound. Pooja will figure that process out with you, what that needs to look like and what your recovery is going to look like, and how to build so that you get where your end goal is wanting to be. So yeah, so don't wait after surgery, get your butt into your therapists.
Well worded. Is you're right. We need to plan it out, and you did a phenomenal job at like keeping up with all the things, and even you hit a few hiccups and then you kept going. You had good support at home, and yes, you were an absolute I don't know, it was
occasionally a challenge, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, thinking outside the box of thing. Well,
yes.
Here's what's happening. Fix this please.
Yeah,
so
it was
fantastic.
So yeah, thank you so much for sharing your experience, and hope this sort of gives someone who is considering going into any sort of surgery, but even plastic or just like
just regular surgery, like even if you're going in and getting your appendix out, you're still having that buildup of lymph fluid because your body's automatically going to react by attempting to cushion it with lymph fluid. Getting the lymph fluid moving is something that physiotherapists, massage therapists, the ultrasound that Pooja does gets all of that circulating and enables you to start moving and it just speeds your recovery up so much in terms of any kind of surgery, any kind of invasion, because your body locks down, and sometimes we as humans react to pain by locking down. Things don't go well if you stay in one position, so having a physiotherapist who will keep you moving is perfect antidote to that. So surgery, see a physical therapist.
Thank you so much for your time, and all the very best.
Thank you.